Across Europe, tens of thousands of farmers have downed tools, mounted their tractors and taken to the streets. Farmers' top concerns vary from country to country. But generally, according to the farmers' complaints, protests reflect common grievances over debts, price pressures, extreme weather, and cheap imports. Most farmers' protests are found in Poland, France, Germany, Belgium, Lithuania, and Italy.
In the history of the farming, the modern history of the agriculture and farming, only in the rarer cases government let the free market do its job. The protests that we're finding in France, they're normal. People get used to subsidies and people are very much afraid of change. And when changes happen, usually the first reaction is rebellion. The change is painful, the people need a time to adapt to the change, to understand its values, and especially when it is not properly communicated by the government. That is why there is not a substantial issue with protests in a democratic society, with the people's behavior and their attitude toward the changes.
In 11 Europe Union countries, prices at the farm gate fell by more than 10% from 2022 to 2023. They dropped nearly 9% on average between the third quarter of 2022 and the same period in 2023, according to Eurostat data. But costs have also come down. All these percent indicators directly affect the farmer's life. Now it is interesting to see how their mass protests will affect the European economy.
They are making the bottlenecks, they are making the obstacles for the transportation. There is goods transportation, there is also organs of human transportation. With this way they are influencing the health of life of human. And even they are not closing the highways, even they are closing with their own technical cars or tractors. Also they are blocking the way with dumping of the fertilizers or manure on a road. If there is any political steps, it can influence for the long term, for the future. But if it will be enough for nowadays, then there isn't any big issues for the future.
It is still unclear how long the protests will last. Farmers were further irritated by the fact that the last European Union summit in Brussels coincided with the flare-up of protests. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has admitted there is an increasing division and polarization, and has launched a strategic dialogue between agriculture groups and EU decision makers. The language is self-reflective, but also vague. And for farmers across Europe who feel forgotten, betrayed, or unable to feed their families, it is unlikely to be enough.